unmute பண்ணி யாராவது சொல்லுங்க or like chatனால யூஸ் பண்ணுங்க. You can use the chat. Anyone, do you know what is DevOps? Or at least do you have any idea? Is it a software or is it an hardware one? Any idea about it? Okay, so before getting into DevOps, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Spishri, I'm 2021 year passed out, to be passed out. So I just got into Hexaware Technologies from our college placement itself. So I had my 6 months of internship there. So complete my internship, then I got into Hexaware and I was working as a site reliability engineer here. So most of the things I'll be working on the DevOps and the tools itself. So I thought of sharing it with you all. So you might be knowing about it. You might get some ideas on it. So that's the reason. So I thought of giving that particular topic. Okay. ஸோ கொஞ்சம் இன்ட்ராக்டிவாக இருந்தால் நல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஐ நோ லைக் 3 days கம்ப்ளீட்லி எல்லாருக்குமே ஹாலிடேஸ், பட் அவங்களுக்கு இருக்காது. ஸோ குமுறல் புரியுது எனக்கு. பட் ஸ்டில் இஃப் இட் வாஸ் இன்ட்ராக்டிவ் தென் தட் would பி ஃபைன். ஸோ ஒரு 21 பாஸ்ட் அவுட்ஸ் உங்களோட 3-4 years தான் நான் வந்து எழுதேன். ஸோ ரொம்ப இன்ட்ராக்டிவாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா நல்லாயிருக்கும். தென் அண்ட் தென் உங்களுக்கு ஏதாச்சும் டவுட்ஸ் இருக்கு, ஏதாவது டேர்ம்ஸ் புரியல அப்படின்னாலும் you can just ask. You can put it in chat or you can just unmute yourself and ask. Okay. So can we start? Can we go into the topic? At least இதுக்காச்சும் இன்டாக்ட் பண்ணுங்கப்பா. ஓகே சொல்லுங்க. At least am I audible for you? Sir, am I audible? Can I proceed? Yeah, hello, am I audible for you?
சுபஸ்ரீ கொஞ்சம் வாய்ஸ் கம்மியா இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
Okay, ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார். Am I audible now? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the response. So we'll just move. So we'll just look into what DevOps is. Today we will be seeing what DevOps is and the software development lifecycle, like how the software is developed and how it was deployed and how it was converted into an application and how it is given in the hands of the users. Then we'll say the most used deployment model, the agile and the old one, waterfall. So what are all the limitations and why we move to agile? And the key principles and the core practices of DevOps, the daily activities of DevOps, what are all the tools we use. So everything we will be seeing in the upcoming slides. And also like if you learn DevOps, what are all the roles you can look for and how the roles will be. So also we will be looking, okay? Yeah, so as name says, DevOps is like dev and ops. Dev in a sense the development and ops in a sense the operations. So developmentங்கிறது என்னன்னா developers அவங்களுடைய டீம் அது எல்லாமே சேர்ந்து தான் டெவலப்மெண்ட். ஸோ ஆப்ஸ் ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது என்ன அப்படின்னா ஒரு கோட் ரெடி ஆயிடுச்சு, டெவலப் ஆயிடுச்சு, அதை வந்து ஒரு என்விரான்மெண்ட்ல போட்டு அதை எண்ட் யூசர்ஸ்க்கு அவர் வெப்சைட்டை லான்ச் பண்ணி கொடுக்குற ப்ராசஸ் எல்லாமே ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ் டீமோடது. ஸோ தட் கம்ஸ் அண்டர் ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ். ஸோ டெவலப்மெண்ட் அண்ட் ஆப்ரேஷன்ஸ்னு 2 டீம் இருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்களுக்குள்ள இருக்கக்கூடிய கேப் அண்ட் அதில் இருக்கக்கூடிய லிமிட்டேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் அது ரெண்டையும் நம்ம எப்படி வந்து அந்த லிமிட்டேஷன்ஸை வந்து சால்வ் பண்ணுறோம் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் டெவாப்ஸ். இட்ஸ் அன் அப்ரோச். டெவாப்ஸுங்கிறது டூல் கிடையாது, இட்ஸ் நாட் அ டெக்னாலஜி, இட்ஸ் அ வே ஆஃப் அப்ரோச் இன் விச் we are bridging a gap between the development and operations team and we are delivering a software more reliable. So this is what the DevOps is. Okay. So Before going much in detail about the DevOps, you guys wanted to know about what is software development life cycle is. So in a small term, in abbreviation, we call it as SDLC, software development life cycle. So this is nothing but the phases which a software will undergo from the code to a software. So say like a client is approaching you. A client wants some website. They want some e-commerce website for launching their website for their own business. Okay, so they wanted to design a website for their own business. So what you will do as a software engineer and as a team, what you will do is like first you will just analyze and you will just collect the requirements from the client. So that was the first phase, planning and analysis. You will ask them. So the client may tell, I need a login page. Once I logged in, once my users logged in, I want to display all my products which were there. So my products should then go to wish list whenever my users are selecting, and it should have a payment option, something like that. The client will request you. So that is the planning and analysis process. Okay, so then the next process is nothing but a design one. So design, in a sense, the creating a prototype. So whenever we are going to work on something, we will create a prototype both in software and as well as hardware. So that is what comes under the design. And then the implementation or code, so it's nothing but the developers will work on the code. They will create the code. So this is the work of the development team. And then comes the testing team. So once the developers develop their code, they will just send their code to the test engineers. So what, as a test engineers, what will they do is like they will write some test cases. They will try to find the bugs, and they will see like if there is any vulnerabilities, errors, something like that. They will just figure out what are all the issues that might occur. So if they find any issues, they will just report it to the development team. They will ask them to fix it. So if everything was okay and if every test cases has passed, they'll just move this to the deployment team. So the deployment team, what will they do is like they will just create all the environment or the resources which is required to launch an application. So they will get the code from the testing team, the ready code from the testing team. So they will create an environment. Say if the code is going to be deployed in a server, they will create a server. They will just try installing all the dependencies there. So whatever the plugins that are necessary, so the every resources which are needed, no, they will create it and they will just deploy the code on it. And the next phase is like maintenance. Maintenance is nothing but monitoring and collecting the logs. So launching an application is okay, but what if it got down? So sales is going on, and users are just going and seeing all the products, all the sales offers they were checking. But at the time, if the application or a website went down, then it's a huge problem. So you will lose your business, so the sales itself will go down. So you should keep on monitoring. You should keep how many requests are coming, is the resources is okay, and what is the peak time, in what time the request incoming request is high, in what time it was low. So such thing has also be monitored. So that's come under the maintenance. Okay, so this is how software is developed and it's launched and it is maintained. So that's what we call the software development lifecycle. And the one thing which you wanted to know along with software development lifecycle is waterfall and agile. So these both waterfall and agiles are like collect all the requirements. They will just design everything, develop everything, test everything, and deploy everything. So they will do all the work from top to bottom. They will completely launch and develop and launch a website. But what are the disadvantages in this waterfall method is like, so say like you have developed everything and you are giving into the hands of the clients. Now the client says like, I'm so sorry, I don't like what you have done. So it's waste of our time and effort, right? So this is a huge problem. So we might be coding for 3 4 months. We created so many resources, we maintained it everything, and end of 4 5 months the client was telling like it was not good. Then it's like a huge impact. So what what's the next thing? When we are thinking about what's the next thing, there comes agile. So agile, where what people is doing, like they will split the work into sprints. So each circles here represent a sprint. What will they do there is like they will split the entire application into small parts. Say like at first they will just design login page, so they will after the login page will like go into planning, like collecting the informations, then design, then development, again testing, deployed, and then it will go into the hands of the customer clients. So now clients will say like, if it is okay, if they are satisfied, they'll say just it's okay and you can move on to the next one. So we'll just move to the next sprint. We might start developing the product page, product display page. Then it will go under the same process. So each sprint, in each at the end of the each sprint, you will be getting the feedback, and also like your satisfying your customers in small intervals, and the product was also developed more efficient way. Okay, and if they told like this was not okay, again you're working going to work on that particular sprint. So agile is the one which we are using currently in the IT industries. And whoever want to proceed in a software field, so you must be knowing what is agile methodologies is. So there are so many terms, scrum, sprints, what is that? So how these was done? What are all the process it undergoes? So there are several terms in it. So you can just undergo it's like a theoretical thing itself. It's an approach. So agile is just a theoretical thing, so it won't take much time. So you can just learn all those things. You can put it in a resume, so that I have a good understanding of agile technologies. So that will be really good for you. Okay, and even after this, we had certain limitations. As I said, developer will develop the code, and then they are giving it into the hands of the operations or the test engineers to test or deploy the code. So here there was one issue which is bothering, which is reducing the software reliability. So what is that? In a sense, developer will just develop, and when they were checking in their own environment, it might good look, they might never get bugs, they might never get any errors, everything would be good. So when they send it to engineers, there is a possibility, there is a high possibility that test engineers would come and say, like, your code is not working. They will just tell your code is not good. So there will be a conflict between the teams. So while going and checking, definitely code will be good, but still the test engineers or the operation teams will get error. So that is because they might use different environments. The developer might use server with different versions, he might use the old dependencies, or the plugins versions might be different. Same for operations. So the environment they are testing or deploying, that might have differed. So this was the one misunderstanding between the teams. So here comes the DevOps engineers. So they create an approach. They use so many other tools. They create an approach in where the environment would be same, and they are collaborating and integrating every teams, and they are delivering the software in a more reliable way. So we are just going to see like how it is done, how the tools are utilized, and how they are bringing the teams close, and how this environment was created, and how the software was delivered in an efficient way. So that is what we are going to see now. Okay. Okay, this is the key principles of DevOps. It's nothing but the most activities which the DevOps engineers will undergo. So first one is automations. So in an IT industry, we will say a term called as toil, TOIL, toil. So toil is nothing but a repetitive task. So the repetitive task or a manual task should always be eliminated, and then automation should be developed. So that is the growth. That is the growth as an software engineer. So, as a DevOps engineer, people will be more concentrating on automations. They will write scripts, they will utilize the automations tools to reduce the toil. So, they will use every tools and scripts to automate things. And as I said earlier, collaboration and integration. Since there are like misunderstandings and some issues with team collaboration, we are bringing all the teams together using certain tools, and also integrating the tools which the multiple teams are utilizing. Okay, that's come under the integrations and the continuous improvement, in a sense, like providing the software more with more quality and agility. It's nothing but like your, since you like integrate every tools and you are keep monitoring your just going through the logs, we could able to deliver it in a more efficient way. So these are all the terms which we will be using much in DevOps. Continuous integration. Integration, in a sense, certain steps. The first steps would be the developer will code. They will send it into and shared repositories, like in any version control system, like maybe GitHub, GitLab. So many tools are there. So DevOps will, sorry, development team will just code the code and they will store that in any repositories. Then the DevOps engineer will create an CI/CD pipeline, which means continuous integration and delivery pipeline. We do have script for that. I'll just show you in the upcoming slides how the script works and how the pipeline was created. So in the integration pipeline, what will they do is like they will just build that complete code, and when they will use certain tools, like in case if it is a Java application, we could go for Maven kind of tools. So with the help of Maven, they might just build the code, and they will just get an artifactory as a result of building it. So this is what the continuous integration pipeline is. And continuous delivery, building. So they will store that artifactory in some places or some cloud kind of places, and engineers will use, and they are testing the code. So up to this continuous integration. Okay, so just sharing the code in a repository and building it and then testing it. So these are all the things which comes under the continuous integrations. And then continuous delivery. So continuous delivery is nothing but we will have certain environments. So straight away, people won't deploy the code in the real time environment, in the real production environment. Before getting into the production environment, it will the code will be deployed in several other environments before they will be tested in the those environments. Only then they will be released in the production. So we will have similar kind of environments. As we said, the environments differs is the reason we faced an issue. So now DevOps engineers will create and similar kind of environment, maybe like a server, a containers or orchestration platform. They will create the similar resources. So they will create an environment for development team, testing team, maybe you can call it as a QA team, and the staging, which means the pre-production, which will be more close to production environment. Production environment is nothing but the real-time environment, the real server where actual website or application software was there. That is what we call as production environment. So it will be tested in development, then it will be tested in a QA, then it will be moved to the staging environment, which is much similar to production. So once everything was validated and if we didn't face any issues, then they will release the code into the production environment. So we can access the website from there. And this is what the continuous delivery, and you also called as continuous deployment. And infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code is nothing but, so for making a software or to for an web application, we require lot and lot of resources. So we have a complex architecture, we have databases, we have buckets to store any files, we need certain servers. So so many environments and resources are required. So we will be using any public clouds or private clouds, and we will be getting or buying the resources and utilizing the resources from there. So here I'll be showing you like how you can manage the infrastructure through AWS. And like why do we need infrastructure as code? We can create all the resources using the UI itself. We do have UI for AWS, Azure, GCP, every cloud platforms we do have UI. But still we prefer infrastructure as code, which means like we will be connecting that cloud platforms into some IaaC tools, and we will create and manage the infrastructure in the code form. We will write scripts. With the help of scripts, we will create an infrastructure and manage it. We need not go and do that in UI. Instead, we could write some code and we can create and manage it. So the reason we are moving towards code is like, UI is okay when you are doing it for small scale application. The architecture will be small, but in case of bigger applications, scripts is better. You can reuse the scripts. You can just add 2 3 lines to the existing scripts if only few of the resources are required. So we can customize it. So that's the reason IaaC is used to manage the cloud services. And for monitoring and logging, we have several tools like AppDynamics, Grafana, Prometheus, Icinga. We have um, several monitoring tools where we could collect the metrics, where we could monitor, and we can just analyze the business and analyze the request, analyze the CPU, memory utilization, disk utilization, and we can plan the upcoming resources or the existing resources accordingly. So we were discussing about what the terms are, and these are all the tools for version control systems. The most used one is Git. So we do have n number of tools which can be used, but the one whichever I added here are the ones which is used widely here. Okay. So for CI/CD also, Jenkins and Azure DevOps are the most used, but still we have GitLab and Circles AI. We have lot and lots of tools for that. But as since these are the major ones which is widely used, so I have included them. And for infrastructure management, uh, Terraform is the one which is mostly used. So infrastructure management is nothing but which I said earlier, IaaS, infrastructure as code. We are just installing Terraform, we are writing Terraform scripts, and we are managing the infrastructure. And containerization and orchestration. So containerization, like it was the Docker containers. In the upcoming slide, I'll be giving in detail what Docker is, and now we'll just see what Kubernetes is. And yeah, Docker is nothing but it helps to create the containers, and Kubernetes are the one which helps to maintain the containers. So that is what the containerization and orchestration is. And already I have told about the monitoring and logging. And for team collaboration and communication, so we have multiple teams, and we need to interact with the teams, no? So we will be using a channel, so here Slack or Teams. So as we use social media like Instagram and WhatsApp to communicate with people, so internally in a professional way to in an enterprise level, so people use Slack and Microsoft Teams. So these could be integrated with several other tools as well. So not just for text messages, these could be just integrated with other tools. Say like if a job was standing, if it has to when it got completed, you want to be notified, you can just integrate that job with this particular communication tool. So once you completed, you will be receiving a message, or if it failed also, you might get a message on this. So you could integrate everything with that. Okay, so we'll talk what is, we'll just go through all the tools we are using. So version control system. So here we are using GitHub. As I said, there are several tools, but I'm concentrating on GitHub since it was open source and it was used widely. I will also show you how I'm storing the code in the GitHub. So this is my own GitHub account. So here I'll just go into my repositories. So repositories is nothing but like a folder like structure. As we have our folders and files in our own file explorer in local system, right? So this is a cloud like platform. So don't call it as a folder, we call it as repositories. So everything will looks like a folder itself, but in GitHub terms, it's called as repositories. So I'm having my all the codes here. So this is my Jenkins file. So I have written Jenkins script here, so that my CI/CD pipeline could be created. and my source code. So here is where my source code is in src main. So these are all where my source code would be, and these are all the test cases where test engineers will write. So this, the source code will, what will the developers do is they will just develop the code from their own environment, and they will push that code into this particular GitHub. Then test engineers will just pull that code, and they will write test cases accordingly, and they will again push it into particular cloud here, particular path here. So as a DevOps engineer, what will DevOps team will do is like they will create a Jenkins. They are going to build this source code, and they are going to test this particular code with the help of the test cases which test engineers use. So that was the problem which we earlier faced, right? So the problem between the both, what as a DevOps engineer I'm doing is like I'm going to integrate all these things in a single platform. And the version control system is like, as from the name also we could say, like you could get all the versions of code. So say like if you have my I have my Jenkins file, if we go in the histories, I can take all my versions. Say like I add 1 2 lines of lines of code in my existing code, and then I'm adding 2 3 lines, then I'm adding 4 4 5 lines, and later I want only the code which it was earlier. So you can take that particular code even after making any number of changes. So that is what the version control system is like. All the versions would be saved, and you can take whatever the versions, you can just go back to the one which you created earlier, and you can also go to the code where you have already added 2 3 lines, so you can go into that as well. So that's how version control system works. So now we'll move on to creating a CI/CD pipelines. So CI/CD pipelines can be achieved through multiple tools. Here I'm just showing you with Jenkins. So here I have created one pipeline. So I named it as project 1. So what it's doing is like it is just taking my code. It's taking my code from Git. So this pipeline is achieved because I have written a Jenkins file for that. So this is my Jenkins file. So it will follow whatever I given here. So git checkout. So my what I have mentioned is like my Jenkins should take the code from this particular path in the main branch. So this particular path, and from the main branch, whatever it is there, no, it's taking it. And next I have given like it should undergo Maven test and then integration test. So this test files, it was already there, which I showed you. The test engineers will give me all the test sources. It will take it from here. And then static code analysis. Static code analysis is like the code vulnerability could be checked. We do have one another tool which is called as SonarQube. I'll just show you. So I have integrated that SonarQube tool, and I'm going to check the vulnerability of the tool using this. And I'm building the code. I'm just building the code, and the as an end product, I will be receiving an artifactory. It compresses and it converts into an artifactory. Then I'm converting that. I'm putting that code into an Docker image. So this we will see when we are going through Docker. So as of now, up to this, it was a CI pipeline, as I said earlier, continuous integration pipeline. So this is what here it is. You could see unit test, integration test, static code analysis, Maven, build Docker image. So everything, this is what. So when I run my scripts, no, so it will automatically pick the source code. It will build it using the Maven. It would automatically pull the code whichever written by the test engineers. It will test according. It will pass the test, and then it will do all the steps, other steps whichever I have mentioned in my script. So this is how it works. And also, like, this is one of my failure. So here was some issues you can see in the console output. So this is how we collect log. It will show me like it was a failure or success. So if you want to go and figure out, you have to go here and you have to figure out what it is. See, it's showing me like it wasn't failure. So I can just go through the full logs and I can figure out what the issue is and I can fix it. So that's how I fixed it. So and then my fifth build was good. So it was entire success. So this is how a CI/CD pipeline would be. So continuous integration. We have integrated the tool to build the tool which used by developers to build the code. We have integrated that. We have integrated what the test engine should do. We have integrated the code. Then we have tested all these codes, and we are building it. So all these process we are doing in a pipeline. So same way we will do for multiple sprint. As I said, we are developing the code and give it into the customer's hand in small sprints, right? So say like this project one is a single sprint, we will have multiple sprints in the same way. So you will be creating multiple pipelines accordingly. So next is infrastructure management using Terraform. So I'll just show you practically. Okay, I do have an sample code. So this is, before that I'll show you how an AWS account would look like. So this is the AWS account. So we have lot and lots of resources. So we do have instances. Instances is nothing but the servers, and we do have lots like block storage is like adding storage to the server. Network and security features are like these are all the resources related to networking, and load balancing which distributes the load. So these are all the resources associated with that. And auto scaling group, it's nothing but according to the load, the service will be scaled up or scaled down. So we do have lot and lot of services here. So now we will be checking into one of the services, nothing but instances. So as I said earlier, instances is a server. So what I have done is like I bought this particular server from AWS. I named it as a project 01. I have installed Jenkins in it, and I have enabled a particular protocol and port number. So here I gave all, and I have launched my application. So you could see in this particular IP. So this is the public IP. Only in this IP, my Jenkins is launched. Okay. So this is how we buy servers, and we will install things and done everything. So I will also show you how to create from UI. This is the UI. So you can give your name, server name, whichever you like here. You can select the flavor of service. If you want Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, whatever you want, you can just select it. And this is the size. T2 Micro is like they provide one CPU and 1 GB memory, so it's free one. But if you are going for a large scale applications, you'll be requiring a larger size. You can choose any of them here, whatever you want, according to your need. So and then these are all the network kind of things, and this is the size of the servers which you want. So you can launch the instance, and that is how a server will be created from the AWS account. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you like how this instance could be created in the form of code itself. So here I have written a small code which is called as a Terraform script. Okay, so provider is nothing but the cloud which is providing. So I'm here using AWS. You could use Azure, Google Cloud Platform, or whatever. So here now I'm using AWS, and I wanted my particular server should be in the region US East one. So here it is. Here there are lot and lots of locations where you can have your service. I want this particular Virginia location, and so I am choosing US East one. And then the resource I want to create is instance. As I said, instance one is nothing but the server creation. Okay, we call it as instance, EC2 instance in the term of AWS. And AMI is nothing but the unique identifier. So each flavor of server will have an unique identifier which we called as and AMI. See, like we will have AMI ID. If I select Mac OS, it will have separate AMI. Ubuntu will be having some AMI. So this is how the AMI is. So I have mentioned that. And the instance type I have mentioned as I want that to be t2.micro, and I'm giving a name for my instance. I'm creating a tag and I'm giving a name for it. So now let's just create a server using this. So here I'm at the project folder. I'll be going to, so this is where my code is. And let's go to EC2. I'm giving a Terraform command, Terraform plan. So what Terraform plan will show you is like what are all the changes it's going to make. So these are all the things which is going to be created. So that is what it will show, and it is showing like how many resources it's going to create. So here we are going to create only one resource, AWS instance. So it's showing one plan one to add. Okay. Now I'm giving Terraform apply command to create it. So this is the one which I already created. The one which I'm going to create now should appear here. I'm confirming it by yes. So the instance is getting created. See, the server was created here. The what is the name which I have given? Example instance. So the same has created here. So this is how we manage an infrastructure. We'll create and manage the infrastructure using the code form. So the one which we use most popularly is Terraform. The Terraform we are using it because it is like it can be used for all the cloud platforms. For AWS, Azure, GCP, like all the cloud platforms, we can use Terraform. So that's the benefit of it. Okay, next we will go into what is container is. So containers is like we can deploy a code in this particular platform. So it's given like given environment like OS level environment it provides, the Docker containers would provide. So this is also like we will have some instructions. We will put that instructions in a Docker file. We will build a Docker file, then we will create it into an image. We will run that image and it will convert it into a container. So containers is also like it's like it's providing an environment same like a OS, so that it's also lightweight. In a single server you can install Docker, we can create n number of containers on it, and we can deploy n number of applications. So that's how Docker is benefited. So I'll just show you in my local how I can create a Docker file, how I can convert it into a image, then a container, and how I can launch my code there. Okay. Okay, this is my simple applications. This is the application code. So it's similar like how a developer will write a code, no? So that's how it's a JavaScript where it's going to display you hello world. It's going to say hello Docker world. Okay, so this is the sample code which I have, and this is the JSON file which will help us to like it will help to download or install all the dependencies to run your application code. So this is the application code, and this will help you to install all the dependencies. So we are writing a Docker file. This is the work of an DevOps engineer. So DevOps engineer will create this Docker file. So we are utilizing an official node image. Then we will set an working directory. So where all the work will be happening, like executions will be happening. Then we are copying this package.json from here to this path, which means inside a container. We are trying to put the package.json into the container. So this package.json will just come into an container. So we are then installing the dependencies. So this has the instruction. This package.json has the details of which dependencies has to be installed. So while we give run npm install instructions according to the package.json, our this particular command will install all the dependencies, after which the dependencies was installed and my container was ready. It was ready with environment where my source code can come and sit. So now I'm just copying the rest is nothing but the app.js was there in this particular path. So I'm just copying this app.js into this container. Then I am exposing it to 3000. My application want to run into that particular port, so I'm just exporting into 3000 and the command to run this code. So to run app.js, it is node app.js. Okay, so we'll just try to create images and then we'll just convert into a container now. So I'll be going into that particular path. The project cd docker project. Okay, here it is. I'm just docker build hyphen t dot. This is a command to build. Just give me a second. There was issue with the docker command. Okay. The issue is like my Docker desktop was not running. So this is hot of in Docker. So this should be running every time when I was working with a Docker. So this is a Windows and we are manually just clicking and running it. But in case like when you are running on a Linux environment, it won't be like this. It would be in the form of code and it would be running. So since it's Windows, we are like manually running everything. So let the engine get starts. Okay. So my image is getting built. So following all the instructions, see just it's following all the instructions which were given in the Docker file and it was creating my images. I could now see in using the Docker images command and I can see the one which I created. So these are all the one which I created earlier. So see here I have created. So you could see, you can verify because I give the command docker build hyphen t and I gave name like image. So you could get a doubt why it's showing me 12 hours ago because I have already tried earlier. the same thing I'm building it again. So it was just showing me like it has created 12 hours ago. Okay, now we will just run a container. We will just converting a image into a container. Okay, the container has been created and I'm just seeing Docker PS. See, this is how it works. So my application and the dependencies, everything was put into a Docker container. The application was run there and it utilizes all the dependencies. It's utilizing my local host and the port which I given here. I have given 3000. So utilizing it, it was launched here. So this is how you can launch an application, deploy and launch an application using a Docker. And this is a monitoring setup. So here I just took in monitoring setup from Grafana. So Grafana is one of the monitoring tools. So I'll just, you can see here it has it's just a sample. So it has 10 containers. Uptime in a sense it was up for 2 days. So in the mean 2 days it didn't go down and it was up for 2 days. And the disk which utilized my application, no, it has utilized 43.7 percentage of disk space, 9 percentage of CPU, and 36 percentage of memory. So this is how you can monitor. And you can also you can also like set the threshold. Like you can just have some monitoring system. So you can configure and you can set like if it crossed 80 percentage of the disk or 90 percentage of CPU, it should report me. So there is a chance if it crossed that particular threshold, no, there is a chance my container or my application or my server can go down. So when I set a threshold, I can just go up and I can see like what are all the issues, what's causing the disk or CPU to fill so fast. I can just go and then try to fix all the issues. So that's how monitoring works. And important of monitoring is this. And also the logs can be just collected. And also like you can just watch like how the performance of your application was there for last 1 month and how it was there in today, and you can just view logs and you can analyze everything from there. So throughout I was telling something like continuous. I was telling like continuous integration, continuous deployment. And here also I was telling like continuous monitoring and continuous logging. So apart from integration, deployment, monitoring, why do we call it as continuous? Is like we once and like say like once and pipeline is created, right? Once the pipeline was created and an application was launched and you wanted to make say changes in that particular code. So here is my application which I launched it, but still I wanted to make some this is one sprint, right? In this particular sprint if I wanted to make some code, I can directly go and make changes here itself. It will it we are not we there is no need to create a separate pipeline. So we can create a trigger process. So using that trigger process, what will it do is like whenever my code here gets updated, my Jenkins will notify. So it will start running all these steps again. So that's what we call as continuous integrations. So we need not create something new manually. So it will itself automatically get triggered and it will automatically run all those steps, and it will also send an mail. You can also add one more step to send an mail, completion mail, that this particular pipeline has ended okay with no issues. Or even if it failed, you can just get notified. So that is what we call as continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. So all put together is DevOps, and we are integrating all the tools. We are collaborating, bringing all the teams together with help of all the tools and technologies possible. Okay, so this is how what the DevOps is, and this is how you utilize the tools. So we have several roles where you can just apply, you can just proceed with one once you know DevOps. So we do have like straight away DevOps engineer roles. So where who will be working on everything which I showed here. They will be working on the tools, all the tools which I showed you here. And another position is site reliability engineer. So I'm a site reliability engineer. So what we will do is like we will work on maintaining everything. So DevOps engineer will create all these things. I would be like as a SRE, I will be maintaining everything. So I'll create monitoring system, I'll create alerting system. So when if everything went down, I just go and fix everything. So to fix everything, I wanted to know what the issues and what are all the concepts and how all the tools works. So that's my duty as an SRE. So what a release engineer will do is like they will be mostly working into the deployment process. So they will like deploy all the code, they'll deliver the code, and they will release the code and launch the application. That's what release engineer will do. And automation architect is kind of senior position, and where they will be and working on automating process. They will work like in infrastructure automation, and if there is any jobs crons, that automation tools automations, so they will be working on it. So all these four roles needs DevOps a lot. So, and apart from this, if you wanted to proceed into an IT field, you should have certain ideas about DevOps, since it's very much booming in IT industries. And also, it's better to learn Git, which I told you already. No, version control system. It's better to learn the version control system, one version control system, and probably Git is more used, and you can learn Git, GitHub, and all. And also you should have basic understanding of what agile methodology is. So if you put all these things in your resumes, it's an added advantage, because this was in the current timing. These are all the things which we are using. And if you are coming as an fresher, and if you are aware of all these things, then it's really an added advantage for you guys. So if you learn, then that would be beneficial. And also if you wanted to add some more, you can learn any platforms. So as I said, I'm using AWS here. This is a pre-tier version. So I what I will do is like I will just under create some projects. I will get some hands on here. So once everything is done, I'll just delete it. So you can use the free trial also. So you can utilize all the free trials and free versions and learn to enhance your skills. And this is how I want to convey. So I just conveyed what are all the things which I could give you efficiently from my side. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Like if you can just unmute if you still didn't understand anything, or if you want to repeat anything, so you can just ask me. Also, if you wanted to know about my company, the culture, like how Hexaware would be, so such kind of doubts also you can ask. Any questions or doubts? No questions? Yeah, that's okay then. So I'm just sharing with you my LinkedIn profile. So this is my LinkedIn profile. You can reach me here. So if you wanted to learn more on DevOps, I could provide you with the resources. I can suggest you, like if you don't know where to start and how to start, I can give you some suggestions on it. So if you wanted to start, go with cloud, which cloud you can choose, or if you want like where I can get the resources to learn any channels, or like any Udemy courses, or like any higher level certifications. Even if you wanted to just know, you can just reach me out. I'm really happy to help you all. So and wish you all the best, like for your career. So all the best, guys. So any still, if you have any doubts, you can just let me know. I'll just clear it out. So we have 5 more minutes. You can ask me if you have any doubts. You can also just ask like how IT industry would be. I know you guys are from Tribly. Even me, when I was in college, I was that not that much interested towards IT, but later when I got placed and I started proceeding, it was quite interesting, and I'm really okay with my career. But in case if in future you are all also wanted to proceed with software industry, you can just ask your doubts. If you have it as a secondary option, also that's okay. But if you have any doubts, you can just ask.
ஐயா உண்டு.
Yeah, Harish, tell me.
அக்கா இப்போ ஐடி கம்பெனியில் ப்ளேஸ் ஆகாமல் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்காக எதுவும் கோடிங் எதுவும் படிக்கணும்?
ஆஹ் அது வந்து ஒரு ரோல பொறுத்து தான். ஸோ பேசிக்கா உங்கள ஃப்ரெஷரா ஹையர் பண்ணும்போது, ஒரு கோடிங் லாங்குவேஜாவது உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும்னு நெனப்பாங்க. ஸோ நான் படிக்கும்போது, நான் பிளேஸ் ஆகும்போது சி வச்சு மெயின்டெயின் பண்ணிக்கிட்டேன். குரூப்ஸ் இருந்துச்சு. நம்மளுடைய கரிக்குலம்லயே இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ அத வச்சே நான் மெயின்டெயின் பண்ணிக்கிட்டேன். அண்ட் ஜாவா அண்ட் பைத்தான் எனக்கு லிட்டில் பிட் தெரிஞ்சிருந்துச்சு. அத வச்சு மெயின்டெயின் பண்ணிக்கிட்டேன். பட் இன்டர்னலா நீங்க உள்ள வரும்போது, கண்டிப்பா உங்களுக்கு கோடிங் லாங்குவேஜ் தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணுங்கிற அவசியம் கிடையாது. இப்ப என்னோட ஃபீல்ட் எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா, எனக்கு ஸ்கிரிப்டிங் தான் தேவைப்பட்டது. இப்ப நான் உங்களுக்கு காமிச்சது எல்லாமே யாமல் ஸ்கிரிப்டிங். ஸோ எனக்கு இதுதான் தேவைப்பட்டதே தவிர, கோடிங் தேவையில்ல. ஸோ ரோல பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் நமக்கு கோடிங் தேவையா இல்லையா? பட் கம்பெனிக்குள்ள என்டர் ஆகுறதுக்கு கண்டிப்பா ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு லாங்குவேஜ் வந்து உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கணும். அது கண்டிப்பா எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க. பட் ரோல்ல ப்ரொசீட் பண்றதுக்கு உங்களுக்கு தேவைப்படலாம், தேவைப்படாமலும் இருக்கலாம்.
ஓகே.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Still, we have 3 more minutes. வேற ஏதாச்சும் டவுட்ஸ் இருக்கா?
இப்போ வேற யாருக்காவது டவுட் இருக்காப்பா?
யாருக்குமே டவுட்ஸ் இல்லையா?